Want to catch the game on the go? Then switch to Metro by T-Mobile and you'll never miss a dunk. With Metro, you'll get access to a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S., just like the big guys. So you can catch all the action. Plus, you'll save a ton over what you're paying with AT&T or Verizon. Score big with Metro. Switch now and save big on a great network. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Note that coverage not available in some areas. Stop by a store for details and terms and conditions.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM dial nearest you, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show. Stephen A. on the road, presented by Progressive Insurance, is live from Atlanta, Georgia, for coverage of the big game. That would be Super Bowl 53, scheduled for this Sunday night in Atlanta, the ATL, which is where I'm coming to you from live as we speak. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Want to thank the audience here in LA, in Atlanta. I'm saying, what am I saying? LA. I meant at ATL. Please forgive the slip up. I want to thank everybody for joining me out here. Got a lot of stuff on my mind. This ain't first day. I don't have to share the microphone on the radio show. It's the Stephen A. Smith radio show. So I got things on my mind, a few things that I want to get to. First things first. Please, please, pretty please, Super Bowl 53, don't give me a blowout. See, I'm getting a little bit worried. If you go on social media today, you'll see Aaron Donald jacked up, muscles everywhere, coming out of his earlobes for crying out loud. Look at how buffed I am. Well, you know, those meat and potato dudes for the New England Patriots with fat and blubber surrounding every little organ they have, they don't have to have muscles to block you, you know. They can just lean on you. They can fall on you, for crying out loud. Tom Brady has dropped back to pass 90 times, over 90 times this entire postseason. He has not been sacked once, not one time. And if you got Tom Brady getting rid of the football inside of 2 seconds, what you think you're going to do? I mean, the fact of the matter is you got time to pass gas before you get to him. I mean, what are you going to do? Then you got Gronk and Edelman. You got Hogan. You got Sony Michel out of Georgia as a rookie running the football very, very well. You got James White, a de facto receiver, because he's catching more passes out of the backfield than most receivers. You're going against the 23rd ranked defense against the run in the Los Angeles Rams. Around 14th against the pass. You got to keep Talib back in the secondary, so that's buffered things a little bit. But you got Roby Coleman talking smack about the greatest quarterback, some would say, in the history of football. Now, whether it's bunch routes or play action or whatever, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But do you really, really think that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady ain't going to target a reserve who has started a grand total of 6 games in his career, talking about a guy who's a 5-time champion? And 9 times this is his 9th appearance in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady has started in more Super Bowls than Roby Coleman has started in his career. I'm going to repeat that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just that Tom Brady, when healthy, hasn't missed a start since 2002. It's not just that the New England Patriots have won a minimum of 10 games a season for like 15, 16 years and counting. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to win you have to win a minimum of 2 playoff games, sometimes 3, in one season to get to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's been to 9 of them now. Sunday will mark his 9th appearance to the Super Bowl. And a guy that has started 6 times is talking about a quarterback that's in his 9th start in the Super Bowl. Now, can somebody make some kind of sense out of that for me? Because I can't. I mean, if there's ever been a license for you to shut the hell up, this would qualify. But this kid, Roby Coleman, has decided not to do that. So guess what? When you deposit checks your behind can't cash, you got a problem. And this man's going to have to show up Sunday, because if Tom Brady and those boys target him and they're successful, is he going to live it down? I don't think he will. So that's one angle that we have to discuss. We can get into how the Los Angeles Rams somehow, some way are going to have to manufacture a defense that's going to neutralize Tom Brady. We can go there. We can look at New England's defense. We can sit up there and look at how they've been playing. And we can ask ourselves, what are they going to do against this Rams offense? Jared Goff can't throw the football. Woods and Cooks can't catch it. This kid Higbee is no joke. Reynolds is filled in admirably since Cooper Kupp has gone down. And on top of it all, Todd Gurley, fresh off of 4 carries for 10-yard performance in the NFC Championship game, has got some things to prove. Maybe not prove, but things to make amends for. Todd Gurley's a stud. He don't have to prove a damn thing. We know he can ball. But you can't run for 10 yards in the NFC Championship game. Don't attribute it to injury. Say that you were perfectly okay, but that you just stunk. And then show up in the Super Bowl 2 weeks later and stink again. Can't do it. Can't do it. Ain't going to live it down. It's just that simple. So he's got to show up. C.J. Anderson, who's been playing admirably, and outside of that backfield with him, well, guess what? C.J.'s going to show up too. But it's going to be real interesting to see. And we also have to monitor what level of protection the Rams offensive line is going to be able to give Jared Goff. Because if anybody has shown the ability to be rattled, it's Jared Goff. I saw him that Monday night game against the Chicago Bears. He looked pathetic. So what is he going to do? Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, he's only in his 3rd year in the National Football League. On top of it being his 3rd year, he's a 3rd-year quarterback going up against the brilliance of Bill Belichick, who, by the way, is in a Super Bowl. So we all know what time it is. The bigger the game gets, the bigger the moment gets. Not in all cases, but in some, which everyone will concede, sometimes palm gets sweaty. Backsides get tight. The more pressure mounts, the less certain people can deal with it. That's where we separate the men from the boys. I'm only saying men, ladies, because we talk about the NFL. If it was tennis, I'd be saying females. We're talking the NFL here. So we're going to find out. And we're going to see what the Rams are going to do, and we're going to go with it from there. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. I got to transition to the NBA because I got a few things on my mind. Some reporting that I did last night, but I also want to talk about a bigger perspective here because I think it's incredibly important to delve into these issues and to touch on them the way that they do and the way that I can without being interrupted. First things first, Anthony Davis, superstar player for the New Orleans Pelicans, wants out. It was announced to the world that he will not sign an extension, that he has every intention of leaving the New Orleans Pelicans. He wants out. Anthony Davis being paid $25 million this year. He's due to get about $27 million next year. His contract expires after next season. He can sign a 5-year, $240 million max now. That's what he could do. But here's the interesting part that I found out about last night. I'm being told that the New Orleans Pelicans are entertaining the notion of not moving him at all, keeping his behind right there in New Orleans. Why are they thinking like that? Because they're saying he can talk all the junk that he wants to. But if we put him in a position where he could sign a 6-year deal, which will give him over $300 million, which would make him the first $300 million ball player in the history of the NBA. Where's he going to go? Let's see if he's willing to walk away from $300 million. And let me tell you why that's interesting. It's interesting for a bevy of reasons, because even though it's obvious that you go for the money, let's speak brass tacks here, ladies and gentlemen. If Anthony Davis wants to leave, first of all, you can't get the $300 million anywhere else because you'd be going to a different team. So we're talking about dollars being lost there. Secondly, to stay with your own team, you sign a 5-year deal. Let's say, for example, it was $240 million. The second you leave and you go elsewhere, you can't take more than a 4-year deal. You're not allowed to sign a 5-year deal with a different team. You have to sign it with the team you're on. So you do that, you lose money there. We're talking, if you calculate the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, according to my calculation, we're talking about Anthony Davis. If he indeed wants to go elsewhere, and it doesn't end up being to somebody like the Lakers now, which would have his rights come summertime or come next season, we are talking about him losing a minimum of $80 million. If we're talking about the 6-year deal and taking that into the equation, where you're walking away from a $300 million deal, we're talking about him losing $125+ million. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have people that ignore family members for $25. So what the hell are you going to do if you stand to lose $125 million+? So that's the situation right now that you have to pay attention to when it comes or when it pertains to Anthony Davis. But here's where it gets even more complicated. I am not saying, as I said today on television, Magic Johnson has an agent under him named Rob Pelinka, who's no longer an agent. He's the general manager for the Los Angeles Lakers. I like Rob Pelinka. I don't have no issue with Rob Pelinka. And you have many people who may try to embellish or flat out lie about who he is, how he is, what their relationship is with him, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the bottom line. When you're an agent, you usually make enemies. And you never know how that can interfere with some of the things cats may want to do. So if you are an agent and you represent a particular player and you got to deal with Rob Pelinka, but you don't want to deal with him, who knows what kind of influence that agent might have on a player that he represents. Now, some would argue in this day and age, the advent of social media, the fact that you can communicate directly with people yourself and you don't need to have a liaison or you don't need to have a front person to speak on your behalf, that the agent's influence is not nearly what people would surmise, that they don't have this control over these players the way that they once did. I'm going to cut the baby down the middle. I'm going to tell you that with the stars, that is absolutely correct. With the marginal players, oh, hell no, agents got influence. Because the bottom line is that those marginal players who don't command max dollars, don't have the endorsement deals, whose very financial success is contingent upon the contract that they sign with a respective team in their respective sport, really has no one to lean on but the agent or the representatives that they put before them, who communicates with the agent, who communicates with the teams, and ultimately negotiates the deals. So it gets very, very convoluted and very complicated, but in the end, what it comes down to is this. LeBron James, everybody sits back and applauds the impact that he has, how great he has been, not just as a player, the greatest in the world, but his philanthropic efforts, charitable donations, the iconic sports brand that he is, the endorsement deals, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the mistake everybody makes. That's great for LeBron. How about everybody else? Now, there are a lot of people that have sat up there, and over the years when I've tried to break this down, they said, oh, there he goes, Stephen A. I don't understand this guy. Why does he bring this up? It's haterism. And my response is, shut the hell up and listen. Because the fact of the matter is, there isn't hater. Let me be very, very clear. I actually have love for LeBron. As a black man watching what he does and what he has done, how can you have anything other than admiration for him? So let's be clear about that. But here's the other side to all of this. LeBron James and I don't have Thanksgiving dinner together. We don't exchange Christmas gifts together. We never have, we never will. He's got his job to do, I got mine. And folks asking me not to tell it like it is the equivalent of me asking them not to dunk or shoot one of them damn jump shots or miss one of them damn free throws. The bottom line is he's got a job to do, so do I. So we're going to have to tell it like it is. And here's the reality of the situation. In doing what he did, leaving from Cleveland to Miami and the fashion in which he did it, and then ultimately departing from South Beach, going back to Cleveland. Everybody loved that story. And then ultimately going from Cleveland to L.A. And along the way, wielding influence. Chris Bosh joining them in South Beach. D-Wade staying. Kyrie staying in Cleveland. Kevin Love coming. And then going to L.A. and purportedly, supposedly convincing Anthony Davis this was the place for you to be. You have league officials who are stuck It's a double-edged sword that comes with LeBron. On one hand, you appreciate everything he brings to the game. His greatness, his conduct, his ambassadorship, and everything else in between. You greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate all the superlatives that are appropriately and accurately associated with LeBron. You're thankful. The flip side to it is that even though you're thankful because as a league you benefit, owners have egos, executives have egos. They want their own cachet. You look at the brand and you say it's great, but you also say, what about me? And if this man, you believe directly or indirectly, is negatively affecting you as an individual, whether it's as an individual person, as an individual franchise, as an individual owner, you're going to have a problem with him. And when you find people in the league who are like-minded that are looking at the power of this man, young African-American male, 34 years old, worth about $1 billion, can do what he wants when he wants, and announces it to the world the way that he has, particularly on his show, The Shop on HBO. What do you think that's going to breed? See, we want to talk. We want to talk about it and just like, oh, you know what? He's a man. He's black and he's a man and he can stand up for himself. Damn now. He should be able to say what he wants. And what I would say to everybody is this. You're right. I actually like it and applaud it. But how intelligent is that? And if it is intelligent, how insensitive is that? Because if I'm in the media, let me put myself on Front Street. There's very, very few people in the world of sports media that's doing what I do, that has accomplished what I accomplished. If I sat up there and said, hell with them, everybody kick rocks, and in the same breath was constantly about the business of not giving a damn about anybody but myself because I'm caught up in my emotional state of mind at that particular moment in time, and I don't have a level of sensitivity towards contemporaries on the come up who don't have the advantages that I have, who don't have a national television show, who don't have a national radio show, who doesn't generate the level of revenue that I generate for my company to insulate me from certain things and certain exposures that other people who don't have that cachet could potentially be exposed to. And I don't give a damn about all of that. Where does that leave them? And that is what we're talking about with the National Basketball Association. Anthony Davis, the Pelicans may control the timetable, but Anthony Davis ultimately is going to control where he goes. He'll control the destination. LeBron did the same thing. KD's going to do the same thing. To a lesser degree, Klay Thompson's going to do the same thing. Well, depending on who you believe, if you believe people outside, not inside Kyrie Irving's camp, because Kyrie Irving's camp says he's cool with Boston and everything's good. But outside of Kyrie's camp, you're hearing this will be his last season in Boston. He doesn't want to be there. He gets to control that to some degree. But for the most part, most players in the National Basketball Association are not going to have the level of cachet those superstars have. So where is that going to lead them? And if you know it's going to lead them down a bad path because they're devoid of the power and the influence that those marquee stars have, as a marquee star who does have that power, does it not obligate you, at least to some degree, to think about that before you act a certain way? I would say it does. Other people might sit up there and say, otherwise, I beg to differ. And that's the point that needs to be made here. Why am I bringing something like this up? Don't y'all remember LeBron James on The Shop on HBO? Damn owners is like plantation owners. Oh, really? It's like damn slavery. Really? And how do you think saying that is going to help players when they want to step forward and be mavericks and do something that they obviously can't do? You might be able to do it if you're LeBron James. You might be able to do it if you Kevin Durant. You might be able to do it if you are one of those superstars with a $200 million plus deal. But the proof is in the pudding. what the leagues and the owners are trying to disseminate to the masses, it will benefit the few, but we will ensure that it does not benefit the many, not at the expense of our business model. Why do you think Anthony Davis got fined $50,000? He publicized the fact that he wanted to get traded. He is under contract with the New Orleans Pelicans. He made it public that he wants out. As a result, by making it public that he wants out and by indicating exactly where he wants to go, which is LA, you've essentially handicapped the business in the eyes of the league, because what you have done is say, I want a specific destination and I want to go there now, even though you signed a contract with New Orleans saying you were willing to stay there until 2020. When you do something like that, if you're granted that wish, then what happens is other people will follow and they'll demand out. And they'll threaten to be a distraction or a disruption. Kawhi Leonard, just last summer, didn't want to go back to San Antonio. All the reports said he wanted to go to L.A. Greg Popovich said, hell no. We're going to send you out of the country. Go ahead to Toronto. We'll take DeMar DeRozan. And if you get there, you may get there, but it ain't going to be by our hand. We ain't capitulating to that. Paul George is in Indiana. He wants to go to the Lakers. Pacers raised holy hell. After that, and a fine was incurred by the Lakers, courtesy of the league, for Magic and them going on TV and talking about it. What does Paul George do? He gets his behind shipped to OKC because they want to send a message. They are not going to capitulate to the demands of players under contract. Now, LeBron did not do that. He was a free agent. He was a free agent when he left Cleveland to go to Miami. He was a free agent when he left Miami to go back to Cleveland. He was a free agent when he left Cleveland to go to L.A. But the manner in which he articulates his position and he talks is as if he is somebody that has defied everything and just said, to hell with it, this is what I'm going to do. And he did it, when in fact he left out the key component, the key nugget in all of it. He was free. Even though he was free, and even though we all knew he was free. Have you ever heard him talking about it? Did you ever hear him reminding y'all, I was a free agent, served my time, and now I'm free to go elsewhere? No. He talks as if he said, hell with my contract, I want out. Now, that's not what he did, and we know that's not what he did. When you give that impression, and when the ignorant out there follow a lead, and they do so with absence of wisdom, what do you have? You have chaos. And why is this relevant? Because this is relevant to you and to everybody here in between. In the world of business, power matters. Not just perception, but real power. And emotions don't rule the day. It might rule the minute. It might rule the hour. But it ain't going to rule the day. At the end of the day, you got to get down to the brass tacks of a situation. And that is, what are your obligations? Ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. I love working for ESPN. I truly do. It's a great place to work, great job, the whole nine. All of that's true. You don't think there's some days where I wouldn't mind leaving? You don't think that there's some days where, hell, man, you know what? California look good, not Bristol, Connecticut. California weather's warm. It was 9 degrees in New York the other day. You don't think that some days I look at that and be like, hell, there's a few networks out in L.A. But it's never a thought that extends beyond a few seconds. Do you know why? Because I have a contract. And that contract says, you right here where we want you to be until your contract expires. That's the real world. And the NBA, at the moment, is going to go about the business of reminding Anthony Davis of just that. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Things are going to get very, very interesting. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. By the way, star linebacker extraordinaire for the New York Jets, Mr. Jamal Adams. He's about to come on the show. He's a safety. I apologize. To me, he's a safety and a linebacker. He's whatever the hell he wants to be because he's the only guy on their defensive side of the ball who can really, really play. But that's just me. Jamal Adams will be up. Bill Romanowski will be with us to start off hour number 2. The great director, producer extraordinaire Will Packer will be on the show with us in hour number 2 as well. And Daniel Jacobs, a middleweight contender who's going to fight Canelo Alvarez for the championship in May. He'll be on the show with us, too, fighting May 4th, by the way. So stick around. You're listening live to Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home anytime you want. Winter or summer, rain or shine. Whether it's a monthly challenge to meet your goals, a training program for your next race, setting a new personal best, the Peloton bike will make you want to show up and climb the live leaderboard year-round. On average, Peloton members are riding their bikes more every year and crushing their personal records along the way. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom. More to Stephen A. Smith Show in a minute. Jamal Adams up next. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. live from the ATL with the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth, you will certainly send any text about your supervisor to your supervisor.
What's with Janet's bangs? Did she lose a bet with a weed whacker? LOL. And send. Wait, no.
Truth, it's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at Geico.com.
Janet, I think my phone was hacked or something.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you live from Atlanta for coverage of the big game Super Bowl 53. I'm here live in the ATL. It's being brought to you by Peloton. Plus, if you missed my opening segment go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. podcast, brought to you by the new Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey, what's in your wallet? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. My honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. The New York Jets only won 4 games this year. It damn sure wasn't his fault. Not my next guest. Safety extraordinaire for the New York Jets, a Rough Rider. I'm proud that they drafted this man. He was their leading tackler, by the way, had 115 tackles this year. I'm talking about strong safety for the New York Jets, Jamal Adams. He's on the line with yours truly as we speak. What's going on, Jamal? How are you, man?
What's up, big dog, man? I'm good, man.
Well, listen, first of all, you know how I feel about you. My condolences for what you have had to be subjected to in New York City. Yeah, I'm looking at a Jet fan in front of me wearing a Jet jersey. He know what the hell I'm talking about. First of all, how are you doing, Jamal? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I just came back from the Pro Bowl, obviously, landed last night. I'm excited to be here, man. It's going to be a great week.
Well, explain to me, man, what your attitude is like or whatever, because I happen to know that you're an incredibly nice guy off the field.
Right.
On the field, obviously, you a different animal, and you should be.
Right.
But, it's got to the point, man, where you tackling mascots. What the hell's going on, Jamal? What was that about?
Man, honestly, man, it was definitely planned in a way.
Right.
I just wanted to, put on a little show for the fans and the kids. We were out there at the Skills Challenge for probably about 3.5 hours, and it seemed like they were kind of dying down as far as the energy. The sun was beating down on them, and the Pats mascot was running around and he was getting booed by the fan bases, all in the stands. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna take it in my hands, man. And first thing I did was make sure an NFL guy that works for the NFL went over there and made sure it wasn't a girl. I didn't want to hit a young lady, you know what I mean? But it was a guy, and he told him, hey, by the end of the day, you might get tackled by Jamal. And apparently he kind of forgot that I was going to tackle him, which I just leaped on him. I didn't really tackle him. But what people didn't see is him getting up, chasing after me and tackling me. There's a video out there, but maybe he got injured when he tackled me. So I'm trying to figure that one out.
I got you. Jamal Adams for the New York Jets here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Put in perspective what this season was like for you. I mean, I've seen you on camera on numerous occasions.
Right.
The frustration was written all over your face.
Right.
You talked about the absence of dogs on the roster. We know you got a new coach in Adam Gase. We'll
Right.
get into that in just a second. But put in perspective for all of our viewers and listeners out there, what this season was like for you playing with the New York Jets as much as y'all were struggling. What was the issue?
Yeah, man, it was frustrating. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it wasn't. As a winner, as a guy that goes out there each and every day, that sacrifices so much, and you prepare through the week to go out there on Sunday and get the win. So it's frustrating when you can't pull out a lot of wins, man, and then you have a losing record for the second year in a row. Since I've been there, and you just gotta trust the process, man. I strongly believe everything happens for a reason, and right now we got $100 million in cap space. There's a lot of free agents out there. Hopefully we can grab, and we got to change this thing around, and it has to happen ASAP. So, you just got to stay positive. As one of the leaders on the team, I just got to figure out a way that I can motivate the ones around me, that I can make them rise up to the occasion. I can make them better around me. I can they can do the same for myself, and as long as we get on the same page, pulling in the same rope the right way, I think we'll be fine.
I can't front. Watching you, I know there's no quitting you. I know what a rough rider you are. That's why you were a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, top 6, because you weren't playing any games. You know who
Right.
you are and what you were made of.
Right.
But watching you on camera, it got to a point where I was actually waiting for you to demand to be traded. I mean, that's how I felt. That's the look on your face. I think there's no other evidence. Didn't hear anything. Not reporting any insider stuff. I'm just saying, looking at you on camera.
Right.
Speaking to you after losses. Were you at that point where you were like, look, man, get me the hell up out of here?
Nah, man. Again, man, you can't, you gotta trust the process. It's, again, I strongly believe everything happens for a reason. But it is frustrating as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you. But hopefully we get that thing changed, this coming year. New energy, new staff coming in, and, I can tell you we're all excited.
How do you feel about Adam Gase being your new head coach? I'm not excited, Tim. Jamal, I'm not excited. Let me be very clear. I've always been straight with you. You know
I love
that,
it, man. You always been straight, man.
Let me tell you something, man. I ain't excited. You know what? And listen, I have nothing against Adam Gase. I mean, that press conference of his was bizarre. I ain't gonna lie to you about that.
Right.
But I ain't gonna get on him about that. That's life. But I will say this to you. The man was in Miami the last 3 years. Yeah, he took him to the playoffs one time, but there was nothing overly impressive about him to go from South Beach to coming to New York City to be the coach of the Jets. Are you excited about him being on board? And if so, I'd really like to know why.
Man, honestly, man, you have to be. Okay. I don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know what to expect. We all don't know what to expect, but at the end of the day, he's a guy that's coming in as the new head coach, and we got to respect him. He's obviously, he did something in an interview to where, they feel very comfortable that he's going to come change things around. And, he's bringing different pieces, to add with him. And, Coach Greg Williams is a hell of a piece to bring. And, as his first hire, it sets the tone.
Jamal, recently you were in the news, I think that was today, where they said that you had lunch with Le'Veon Bell's agent making a pitch for the Jets to bring Le'Veon Bell to New York City. Care to share, sir? Care to share?
Yeah, for sure, man. Obviously everybody wants a story. But yes, I did have a casual lunch with his agent, but his agent is great friends with my agent. So they were already outside, just having lunch by the pool. And I came out there, at the Pro Bowl, and, I was just chopping it up with them and talking about life, talking about football. But they blew up the story, basically trying to say, like, I just sat one-on-one with the agent, with his agent, and, trying to get Le'Veon to come. But it wasn't like that, man. It was just a casual lunch, and, we definitely had a great conversation.
Okay, having said all of that, Jamal, now I want to make sure I'm clear, because you know me, I believe in the brothers getting paid. And 100%. So I certainly don't want to compromise your money. There is no violation of NFL rules, for example, if you were talking to an agent. Let's say, for example, you did say to his agent, look, man, what about getting Le'Veon Bell in New York? You wouldn't 100%. Be fined for that, would you?
No. Listen, I definitely pitched it. Don't get me wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Don't. Oh. Listen, Le'Veon Bell was definitely, he was brought up in the conversation. Okay. But it wasn't, what I'm trying to say is the conversation wasn't just about him. You know what I mean? But I can tell you he definitely was brought up. And, I said, hey, man, we need to get him there. So, hopefully we can do that and bring him in, and I think he'll help Sam out a lot.
I would be very, very – listen, I'm a Steelers fan, even though I'm a Jamal Adams fan, but I would tell you I wouldn't mind Le'Veon Bell in New York City not
I wouldn't mind it either, brother.
It wouldn't bother me. So with that being said, let's move on from the Jets, because obviously you're expecting bigger and better things for the future, and I'll talk to you about the Jets in the future. Who you got winning the Super Bowl, man?
Man, honestly, man, that's tough. I don't.
Really?
Obviously it's the best of the best right now. How I answer that question, man, is if LA can slow down Brady, as far as disguising and trying to confuse him, because he's seen everything, which is hard to do, and slow down Gronk, and get some pressure with that front four, I think they have a chance to get those guys.
Those are a lot of ifs, Jamal.
Yeah, you're right.
If I went to Hair Club for Men, my hairline wouldn't be back this far. Come on, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, I got a secret tool, man, to get you back in the game now. Just holler at me.
Listen, you know what? Listen, personally speaking, I would rather my head be bigger so I can have a big square head and I can go bald and then I'm looking straight. Because I got an egghead with a beak for a nose, the bald look might not work for me.
Nah,
that's
I got
all
you.
I'm trying to say.
No, you might be right, man. You might be. I like your look though, but it's just certain things you got to slow down. The Pats, man, they're playing great football. Obviously, they're not going to make mistakes. It's very rare. And if they do make a mistake, you got to capitalize, and you got to make sure you just don't make that same mistake, because if you do, they will capitalize. So it's going to be a good game, man. I still don't know who I'm rolling with, but I'm looking forward to this matchup.
Last question. You here on behalf of Pepsi. Talk to me about what you're doing with them, man.
So, yeah, man, I'm here with the family Pepsi. We got like a little snack box that we created. It's a moving vending machine, put it like that. And it moves by itself. It gives the best of the best products, Pepsi product and Doritos. But it can do anything you want it to do. It can walk your dog. It can wash your car. It can grab your clothes from upstairs. It can do a little bit of everything, man. So we're excited to have this on the market, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Man, Jamal, always a fan of yours. You know I'm just a phone call away, man. First take, radio show, it don't matter, man. You need me, just dial a number. You know I got you.
You know it, brother. Much love.
All right, my man. You take it easy.
Brother.
We'll talk soon. Jamal
right,
Adams, safety extraordinaire for the New York Jets, right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Remember, top of the hour, we'll have on Bill Romanowski on behalf of his company, Nutrition 53. Looking forward to talking to him about that. By the way, relationship tip number 1. It's not going to truly feel like a birthday, anniversary, or Valentine's unless there's roses involved. And this season, the biggest and best quality roses are only found at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get a dozen assorted roses for $19.99 or upgrade to 2 dozen assorted roses for $10 more. To order a dozen assorted roses for $19.99 or upgrade to 2 dozen assorted roses for $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Stephen A. Order today and save at 1-800-Flowers.com, code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Hurry up. The offer expires this Friday. Fellas, y'all looking at me. I see y'all with some ladies out there. She looking at you. She ain't saying a word, but she looking at you up and down like you short. Like, this boy better get me some damn flowers. $19.99, $29.99. I ain't worth that. If you want to have a good Super Bowl weekend, I would advise you to go get your lady some flowers. Trust me when I tell you, it's in your best interest. Back with more Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News in a minute.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you live from the ATL site of Super Bowl 53. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Plus, with the Vivid Seats app, it's easy to find awesome seats to any game. Download the app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Packer, producer extraordinaire, is coming on the show with us in a little while. Daniel Jacobs, who's fighting Canelo Alvarez in May for the middleweight championship, he's coming on the show with us. But every year for Super Bowl week, and I sincerely mean this from the bottom of my heart, one of my greatest pleasures is to talk to my next guest. I see him every year here. He's here promoting on behalf of his company, Nutrition 53, promoting their product and whatever. But this is a 4-time Super Bowl champion. He's been to 5 Super Bowls, one of the most candid individuals and knowledgeable football minds you will find. My buddy, the one and only Bill Romanowski. What's going on, big time?
Oh, good to see you, Stephen.
It's good to see you. You look good, man. You look at every time I see you, I'm just reminded of how horrible know the shape I'm in because I got to weed off the crunch berries. I haven't completely got rid of
Oh,
them.
you can't be doing the crunch berries. We can't be going crunch berries.
It's hard. What you been up to, man? How is it? First of all, talk to me about what, Nutrition 53. What's up with this?
We partnered with Smoothie King.
Okay.
We're kicking butt. They have this new initiative. No sugar added to any of their smoothies. No preservatives, no anything other than good protein, good nutrients.
Why do you always have this look on your face that just breeds disgust for anybody who likes sugar? You know I like sugar. I mean, it's just a look on his face that it's like he's looking you up and down like you make me sick because you like sugar. You know it's a drug. It's hard to get
It is
Bill
probably
Romanowski.
the worst drug on planet Earth.
It is.
And you know what? There was a time when I would go to the dark side and have sugar, but it's out of my diet.
It's out of your diet.
Yeah.
How you feeling these days?
I feel fantastic.
Right.
I really do.
You always do. And listen, I got to talk to you because I know you know your football. First
Yes.
things first. I got to ask you, I got to put you on the spot with this.
Okay.
Was I wrong to get on Derek Carr for trying to get on me the way? Was I wrong for dealing with that man in the fashion I did? The quarterback for the Oakland Raiders who had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to come at me, Bill Romanowski?
Okay. No, you were not wrong. Here's where I go with it. And you just got to ask yourself this question. Is Derek Carr a John Gruden guy? And does John Gruden think Derek Carr can lead him to a dynasty? Because you know that's what John Gruden wants. When you get 10 years, $100 million, you got pressure on you to build a dynasty. And that's what Mark Davis is counting on. There are times when I saw him getting sacked where I was like, that guy's getting paid $127 million. Get up!
Right.
And you get sacked like a man. And it hurt me to my core. But then there are other times where you're like, the guy can make every throw on the field, and he did amazing things. So there's this push and pull I have as a fan because, the toughness, the linebacker in me is like, I want a Rich Gannon type of guy.
Here's where my push and pull comes with Derek Carr, because in fairness to him, even though I disagree with him, I'm not going to excoriate him as a man. He seems like a good guy.
Oh, he's an unbelievable guy.
And we know that he's a great talent. It just doesn't always show itself. So I'm going to show him the respect and courtesy he deserves.
Yes.
But I will say this. In today's NFL, when you have a guy like a Derek Carr paying him the $25 million you're paying him, essentially what you're saying is we got to pick that one guy who would take up that chunk of the cap. Yep. They said it wasn't Amari Cooper. We understand that. But they also said it wasn't Khalil Mack. It was this guy. In the end, isn't that what this comes down to? That John Gruden and the Raiders have staked their claim and their future fame to the arm of Derek Carr?
I think the only place where I can back that up is it happened a year prior before John got there.
Okay.
So, blame it on Reggie McKenzie.
Okay.
Blame it on the Raider organization. John inherited that.
Okay.
Would he have done that over, as you say, Khalil Mack? You weigh those two. You got arguably the best player in the NFL. Forget about offense or defense. Khalil Mack, you could say that. I think if John was posed with that question a year later, I think he probably would have gone with Khalil Mack. That's just me looking into it.
Last question on the Raiders before I get to Super Bowl 53. You think John Gruden's worth it? $100 million, 10 years, incentives that blow it up to $118, $120 million. Is John Gruden the man to lead the Oakland Raiders to the promised land in your estimation?
I believe he is. I have faith. I love the man. When he was our offensive coordinator in Philly, when I was there, I had a lot of respect for him because in the early days when I was at the 49ers, when I first got there, he was the guy that did all the stats and stuff and helped the coaches. Just a young little blonde kid. And then all of a sudden, I hadn't seen him for a long time. He shows up in Philadelphia and commands our offense and takes us to the playoffs with Rodney Peete.
That's right.
And, then I had a chance, I went against him when he was the head coach of the Raiders and we're at the Broncos. Big rivalry. I wanted to play for him. And I didn't get that chance. He left to Tampa. I go to
But
Oakland.
that was a long time ago.
No, it was.
I mean, times have changed.
Hey, they have.
I mean, you look the same.
But the man,
okay, but the rest of us have aged, Bill Romanowski.
I have faith that John Gruden is going to build a dynasty. And I will say this. A dynasty. He's got 2 years. In these next 2 years, if he doesn't hit 85% in the draft, there will be trouble.
I got you. Bill Romanowski, 4-time Super Bowl champion, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, his company, Nutrition 53, doing work. Make sure you check it out. Let's go to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 53. Let's get to that.
Yes.
New England going against the Los Angeles Rams. Can Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots neutralize Aaron Donald and that defensive line with Ndamukong Suh, Brockers, Fowler?
Did they not do it against the Chargers? Chargers got a pretty damn good pass rush. Did they not do it against the Kansas City Chiefs? Those are predominantly outside pass rushing teams, and now they're going to have to deal with that force up the middle. And if they get that done, that's the key to this game. Another key to the game, which a lot of people, I don't know, are thinking this. If the New England Patriots can't run the football, they will get beat. And people will be like, running the football, you're putting the hands. It's Tom Brady's game.
Yeah,
no.
but you're talking about Sony
It's
Michel.
not Tom Brady's game.
White?
He better be able to, if they can't run the football, Tom Brady is not going to be able to get his guys, Edelman, open.
Gronkowski. Hogan. I get it. But here's my argument to that. You got a guy coming out of the backfield that catches more than he runs in James White. I can see if you're talking about Sony Michel and that's it. But in James White, this brother's catching 12 or 15 receptions a game in the postseason. What about that?
It is a hybrid, how I look at it, a hybrid of the West Coast offense. What was Joe Montana always able to do? Dump the ball off. That's what this is, a hybrid of that. They're going to find the open guy. But I don't think throwing the ball, out of the backfield is going to win the Super Bowl for you. What's going to win the Super Bowl for you is being able to pound the football, moves the chains, and get Edelman open over the middle or Hogan.
Bill Romanowski was crazy. Bill Romanowski would go out there and be like a rough rider. Did you see somebody like that on the Los Angeles Rams? On the defensive side of the ball. Speak to me. I asked you a direct question.
There's only one.
Who? Aaron Donald?
Talib.
Really?
I think he's the meanest guy, one of the meanest guys on their team.
Talib.
Yeah.
And what credence do you give, or what level of substance?
I love him.
Stay with me. What level of substance do you give to his game when you consider the fact that he was on Denver when they beat New England in the AFC Championship game? That familiarity going up against New England. How would that help, if at all?
I think it helps. The fact that he's been there, done it, but he's one of 11 battles that are going to go on Sunday, and he's got to take care of his job.
Your thoughts about this guy, Roby Coleman, who's had 6 starts in his career, talking about a 5-time Super Bowl champion and Tom Brady. Wait, now he did acknowledge that he's the GOAT. He didn't mean any disrespect. But he did point out that Tom Brady had lost a step, that he wasn't the same as he used to be. What kind of an impact do you anticipate that having? Such bravado? Such blasphemy?
You better be careful, because when those kind of statements come out, every team has got a billboard and places those on the billboard. They use those kind of things as ammunition. You shouldn't be saying those kind of things, Stephen. They don't belong, because you got to keep it neutral, go out there and play the game and prove it on Sunday.
Do you think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going to pick on this man?
By double digits, they will end up winning the game. And
the Patriots will end up winning the game?
Oh yeah.
All that talk you've been talking, you trying to tell me you're picking the Patriots?
Oh,
the way you
yeah.
just talk about the Rams, what's up with that?
Oh yeah, I was talking about
the Rams.
Hey, I got to be able to talk about them, but how do you go against the greatest team and the greatest tandem ever? And that's what it is. Man for man, they do not match up against the Rams. They don't. The Rams are a better team, man for man. But team, that's what they are. And I just compare it to me. I played on the Denver Broncos. the greatest team I ever played on as a group of men going out there and doing it for one another, were we as talented as my 49er teams? Heck no, not even close. But we were the ultimate team. The Patriots are the ultimate team.
I've heard you mention a lot of things. The one name I haven't heard you mention was Boy Wonder himself, Sean McVay. Why is that?
I love Sean McVay.
Okay.
Hey, how can you not love the guy? He's the ultimate. I think he's a player's coach.
But I know you. And knowing you and knowing how astute you are about the game of football, if you thought Sean McVay was going to be a factor, you'd have mentioned it 10 minutes ago. You didn't. Why not?
Because he's going up against Bill Belichick. Okay. Come on.
I'm just checking.
Hey, Bill Belichick's the wizard. Mm-hmm. Let's just put that out there. He's the wizard. And until Sean McVay proves it, hey, I'll give him credit on Monday or Sunday night next week if he's able to accomplish this feat. But this feat might be the toughest of all time.
The one thing I take away from Bill Belichick, and I didn't talk to you after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The one thing I take away from him is that I as much as I respect and love and revere that man, I really had a problem with him taking Malcolm Butler, who played 97.8% of the snaps last year during the regular season, 100% of the snaps in the postseason, and then the Super Bowl comes and you bench that man. And this dude that works with me on First Take, Max Kellerman, he did what was in the best interest of the team. I want to hear that. That makes no sense whatsoever. What the hell was that decision about, Bill Romanowski?
Hey, I was in one of those scenarios when I was in Oakland. I had a teammate go AWOL.
Yes.
Okay. Barrett Robbins
went to Mexico the night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I had one of those.
Right.
And guess what? The owner wanted him to play in the game when he got back. But when he got back, he didn't even know who the owner was. That's where his state of mind was. Could he have got his mind right? And would it have made a difference in the game? I think if you're Rich Gannon, you're saying, I think it would have. I would have wanted my guy.
That's right.
But Bill Belichick, I think, did the right thing, but it cost him a Super Bowl.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Call me crazy or whatever the case may be. Had that been me, I'd have put his crazy behind in the game any damn way.
Hey, he would have been playing.
I'd have gave a chance to make a mistake. He
would have been playing.
If you've been guarding me,
Barrett Robbins would have been playing
he
too.
He would have been playing.
Okay.
He would have been playing. Hell yeah. Bill Romanowski, appreciate you, man. By the way, Nutrition 53, where can we find more?
Right here, nutrition53.com, and you can also go to Smoothie King and get the Lean One smoothie.
Mm-hmm. You know, I did cut back on the sugar.
Hey.
I did cut back.
Hey,
I've
got a care package coming your way.
You always have those packages. And they do help. They do. But I'm an addict. I'm a sugar addict, man.
Hey, we can turn that.
You see how he smiles at me? Just smiles at me.
Promise.
Like better times are coming. Watch. Appreciate you, buddy.
Love you.
Love you too, my man. The one and only Bill Romanowski right here with Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. He's not there yet. That's okay. You know what? Since he's not there, if you don't mind, he'll be there in a second. But I'm going to keep Bill Romanowski for one. I'm looking at my producer like I need his permission. It's my show. But anyway, let me say this. Before I get Will Pack on the line with us, before I let you go, Bill Romanowski.
Yes.
What do the Rams have to do to have a chance? Even though you picked them to lose,
you brought it
they
up.
have to have a chance.
You brought it up. It comes down to this. It comes down to that inside pass rush. And can you get it? And can you get it without blitzing? If you can get to Brady up the middle, because we all know he can't boot out of the pocket. He is a pocket passer. You know where he's going to be. So if Donald and Sue can get up the middle, that will make a difference.
I got you. I appreciate you, buddy.
Okay.
My guest is on the line right now. Producer extraordinaire, promoting his new movie, What Men Want. I mean, he did Think Like a Man. He did various other movies as well. He's one of the elite producers in Hollywood, spectacular at what he does. I'm talking about my brother, my friend, the one and only Will Packer.
I get the official, the Stephen A. Smith intro. I like it. You make me sound legit, baby.
You are legit, Will Packer. You are legit. I mean, and it ain't just because you came out of the bathroom without washing your hands in the movie, Think Like a Man with Kevin Hart. Okay? What's
True
going
story.
on?
Shout
How you
out
doing,
to
man?
my aficionados. I'm good. You kidding me, man? I'm here. Radio Row, Super Bowl 53. What? It's awesome, dude. I got a movie coming out. I'm here with all these sports celebs. I'm talking to you. What do you mean? Life is great,
man,
baby.
My man, this new movie you got coming out, the minute I saw my girl Taraji B. Henson, you
Yes,
know
sir.
I love me some Taraji.
Yo.
The fact that you got her starring in this movie is something special. Talk to me about it.
You know what's crazy, Stephen A? People do not know how funny Taraji is. You think of Taraji, you think of Baby Boy, you think of Benjamin Button, where she got nominated for the Oscar. You think, of course, of Cookie Lion on Empire, where she's got the Emmy nod. She is so funny. And here's the deal. I called her. I said, T, I got something. Now, Taraji and I have done movies together. You mentioned it. We did Think Like a Man 2, No Good Deed. We've done stuff. Our movies have worked. We haven't missed
By the way, it would have been nice to see her in Girls Trip, too. I mean, that was a fantastic movie with Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yes.
All of it. I mean, it was something special, but I got to admit, she would have been flying that movie, too.
Here's the deal. I got a little hint for you. She hit me the other day and said, what's up with the sequel? So I'm telling you, I haven't announced that to anybody, but we are working on a sequel. What do you think about if we add a little more flavor to the crew? Somebody like Taraji. What you think?
Are you calling me? Because I can cause trouble in a movie like that. I can cause some trouble.
Stephen, what are you going to be? You think you can handle Tiffany Haddish one-on-one on the streets of New Orleans? You know how crazy she is.
Hell no, I can't do it. Mickey Mouse wouldn't let me. Mickey Mouse wouldn't let me do that, Will Packer. You know what I'm saying? But I do show up on General Hospital tomorrow, so check it out.
I love it. Mickey cuts big checks. So.
But once again, talk to me about this movie. What men want, what inspired it. Talk to my audience about it.
So there was a movie called What Women Want. It was with Mel Gibson, Helen Hunt. You remember that joint? And he could hear what women were thinking. Okay, so this one is a reimagining. It's not a remake, it's a reimagining. We took Taraji Henson. She plays a sports agent, okay? She is a woman working in a completely male-dominated field. She's a sports agent, and she's trying to figure out how to get ahead, how to, sign the top draft pick, especially in the NBA and MLB and NFL, because all her clients are, the top female athletes. So she's got to break into the man's world. She gets this gift, okay? And Erykah Badu actually plays this crazy psychic character. You got to see the movie because Erykah Badu is the breakout hilarious role. She gives her this gift where she can now hear what's going on in the minds of men. Imagine that. She can actually read men's mind. First of all, the movie's rated R. I'm just going to tell you right now. I know we are on the family station, but don't bring the kids to this because it goes there. Because, guys, you know how we think. And the movie keeps it real. So now that she can hear and get inside guys' heads, she tries to use that to then get ahead in her career. But needless to say, it doesn't go the way that she thinks it's going to go. And it is hilarious, man. It's a funny movie. And Taraji's funny. She's been wanting to do a comedy for a while. She said, Will, I've been doing drama. She said, I've been crying in every role for the last 10 years. I want to do, she said, I've been ugly crying, snot crying, dramatic crying. Give me something where I can have some fun on the set. I said, Taraji, I got you. So, and here's the thing, Stephen A. I put in a bunch of sports cameos because it's set against the backdrop of the sports world. So in the movie, I got Shaq, I got Grant Hill, John Collins from the Hawks, Devontae Freeman from the Falcons. I got Lisa Leslie is in it. I got who else I got in this movie? Man, I went out and I opened my Rolodex, and it got to the point where I was having athletes call me to be in the movie, and I had to turn them down because I just didn't have enough room for all the cameos.
Well, first of all, they should call you because obviously, particularly you being an African American and making the noise that you're making in Hollywood is something special to behold. You just don't see it often. We hear stuff about Spike Lee. We hear about obviously Tyler Perry and some others, no doubt about it. John Singleton back in the day with Boys in the Hood. But the kind of stuff that you're doing right now is just something special, man. I'm so proud of you right now. Talk to me real quick. Talk to me about this from your angle. What are these kind of things have been doing? Road trip, girls trip rather, a ride along rather. That's what I was talking about with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart. Talk to me about what your career ascension has been very conspicuous, and we all need to be reminded of that. It's something special. What's been going on with you, man? How's life been treating you because of all
amazing. I'm having such a great ride, and what it is that audiences are coming out and supporting the content that I'm making. Stephen A., I dropped a movie called Night School last year. It was with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, and that was actually my 10th number one movie in America. Not my 10th black number one movie, not the 10th number one movie in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? In America. And that means that all audiences are coming out and seeing the content that I'm creating, and it means that somebody that looks like me can be behind the scenes making power decisions and using my influence to make sure that people that may not have a voice can have a voice in this industry. And for me, man, I'm just trying to make good content. I'm trying to entertain entertain people, and it's tough these days because you got so many options. So I got to make stuff that's loud, that stands out, that's provocative. I got to make stuff for all people, and it might just happen to have, a chocolate sister brother in front of the camera. Nothing wrong with that either. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with it because the bottom line is this: you ain't after black appeal, you after mass appeal.
There you
want black, white, and everything in between. That's the real ingredient to success that you teaching everybody. I know you showed it to me, so I definitely appreciate you on that front. No question about it. In the sports world, because when you got Taraji B. Henson, let's not forget, like you brought up Lisa Leslie, let's not forget somebody like Gabrielle Union, who you're very friendly with, who you know very, very well.
Absolutely.
Gabrielle Union Wade. Yes. I mean, you could do some things in the world of sports.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No. That's what it takes, man. Yeah, brother.
That's right. Before I let you go, who you got winning the Super Bowl?
Oh, man. Listen,
give it to me, Will.
Listen, here it is. First of all, you never ever bet against Tom Terrific, okay? I don't care if he's 41 or 91. It's his mental game that puts him ahead of everybody else. However, Stephen A. Smith, this Sunday, it is the changing of the guard, my friend, okay?
Wow.
Because these Los Angeles Rams did not fly across country to be yet another notch on Terrific Tom's post, okay? This Sunday, Mr. Jared Goff is going to announce that he has arrived and he's going to take down the Svengali, the GOAT, the master. I'm telling you right now, I got the Rams in a shootout.
Is it right down the road from the Rams practice facility? Is that what this is? Is that what you're saying, Will?
I do have some Hollywood connections. I do spend a lot of time in L.A. I may or may not know a couple of those boys, but I'm just telling you, Stephen A., it's a shootout. Take the over, and it's the Rams. I'm telling you now. Wow. You heard it here, baby. Play this back when I'm correct now next week. All right, Stephen A.? I'm telling you.
Film producer extraordinaire, one of the greatest in the world, the one and only Will Packer, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
You always give me love, brother. I love you, man. Thank you.
Same here, man. Love you back, man. All the best to you. I'll see you soon, and I'll definitely be at the premiere for that movie. You ain't even got to worry about it.
My guy. I'll see you there.
Take it easy. No doubt. The one and only Will Packer right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776 for those of you out there who are not African-American. Let me just say this. It's very, very rare to see radio host, with nationally syndicated radio show host, with who happens to be African American, and it's very rare to see a producer extraordinaire in Hollywood who happens to be African American. So when I see one of us, I am going to celebrate it unapologetically. For those of you who don't like it, I just have a piece of advice. Get the hell over it. It's what I'm going to do. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post the job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post the job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. We had Bill Romanowski on. We had Jamal Adams on. We had the great Will Packer on. And up next is a man vying for the middleweight championship of the world in the sport of boxing, scheduled to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez live this May 4th. I'm talking about Daniel Jacobs, top middleweight contender in the world. Almost beat Triple G, by the way. Some thought he actually did beat Triple G. He'll be up next with yours truly right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Let's consider the secret life of the innermost nesting doll. Living most of her life in the dark, inside the other nesting dolls, she has plenty of time to think, if she could. Sadly, she has no brain. However, when an innermost nesting doll hears that Geico not only saves people money, but also has been providing great service for over 75 years, she thinks it's obvious you should switch. Because yes, switching to Geico is a no-brainer. Pity the innermost nesting doll and her lot in life.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $668. Plus, for special occasions like Valentine's, 1-800-Flowers has the best bouquets and deals around, like 18 red roses for $29.99, or upgrade to 24 red roses for just $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. It is my honor and privilege to have next to me the IBF middleweight champion of the world. He is 35-2 for his career. On May 4th, He is fighting Saul Canelo Alvarez. The IBF title is on the line. The WBA title is on the line. The WBC title is on the line. Daniel Jacob, good to see you, big boy.
Likewise,
how you doing, man?
good to be.
First of all, how you feeling? How's everything going?
All is well. I'm great right now.
Just to educate my listeners, talk to them because you obviously had health challenges in the past. Just crystallize it for everybody so everybody knows what you went through and where you're at now.
Well, right now, I'm the first cancer survivor to be a boxing world champion. Thank you. Thank you very much. 2011, I was struck with osteosarcoma, which is a bone cancer. I was paralyzed by a tumor. Had to learn how to walk again, learn how to box again after doctors told me this would never be possible. And I came out to make history. And now we have the biggest opportunity that my career has faced up to yet.
What's the biggest reason you wanted this fight? To unify the belt or because you want Canelo Alvarez?
Because I want Canelo.
Why? Explain.
But I truly feel like I can beat him. Just like standing next to him, sizing him up. And you know, boxing is a physical sport. I can look at you and can tell you 5 minutes into what I'm going to do.
Well, don't look at me, damn it. You'll take me out in about 30 seconds. So let's be clear. But go ahead.
But no, he's a great challenger, but he is the number one guy in the sport of boxing. And to proclaim that title, I have to go through the likes of Canelo's and the Triple G and get victories, decisive victories. So that's the goal for this fight.
Is there anything about you that makes this nervous, makes you a little bit nervous? Let me preface my question by saying this. I thought Triple G would beat Canelo, and I thought he should have gotten a decision as opposed to a draw the first go-round.
Correct.
The second go-round, if you want to get technical about it, a part of me says Triple G should have won, but then I got surrounded by champions. This is a true story. I got surrounded by champions. I was out on the deck at the T-Mobile Arena. Andre Ward, undefeated light heavyweight champion of the world. The Charlo brothers at the time, both undefeated world champions. One of them recently lost by decision. He should have won. And then, of course, Errol Spence Jr., undefeated champion. All of them surrounded me. Stephen A., what the hell were you watching?
Yeah.
Did you see Canelo with those body shots? He was ripping Triple G up. So I saw that Canelo, and I'm saying, well, I don't feel the same way that I felt about him before. Now I'm a little bit worried. Why are you not worried?
Well, I'm not worried because I'm a completely different fighter than Triple G.
Okay.
Triple G is a lot bigger than he is. And I'm a lot bigger than Triple G is. So could you imagine me stepping inside that ring? I would be the biggest middleweight Canelo has ever faced and most talented. Triple G is only one way. He can fight aggressive, and that's all he does. If he fights sideways, going backwards, it's all over the place. For me, I can do it all. I can switch southpaw. I can go back. I can go side. I can box. I can bang. I can do it all. So that's what Canelo's faced with inside that ring.
Well, what you saw of Canelo Alvarez, what is it going to take to beat him, Daniel Jacobs?
Well, I'm not Triple G. I can't compare myself to him in that performance. It's totally, completely different game. He's going to have to adjust. He's going to have to find some things in there that he's never been faced with. And he's fought the guys of Mayweather. He fought the guys of Law. All these champion guys that he's fought. But I truly believe in my heart that I'm all those guys in one.
Daniel Jacobs, IBF middleweight champion of the world, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Having said all of that, as your game has evolved, you lost to Triple G by decision. I'm looking at the date that this took place here. I believe that was March 18th, 2017. You lost to Triple G at that time. A lot of people, including myself, I interviewed you, and you know I'm honest. I was worried about you. I was worried about you getting knocked out because Triple G was a monster, and he was knocking out everybody. And you went in there, went down in the fourth round, if I remember correctly, got up, and beat him practically every damn round from that moment in time. Is that the moment where you felt you had arrived?
Well, here's the thing. You know, the media, the boxing world, everybody created this man to be, you know, super superior. And going in that in the back of my mind, I didn't realize that I could compete and bang with this guy until you actually do it. So you can think you're the best until you actually get in there with the best, until you size up with him. And once I was in there and started to realize that I belong and that this is just an illusion with everyone created, that's when I started to go to work. You know, but the judges had it however they had it, but I have this great opportunity now. Now I'm world champion. Now Triple G needs a belt. Now I'm going to beat Canelo Alvarez, and I'm going to be the best middleweight champion boxer in the world.
So you beat Canelo Alvarez, and then you want a rematch with Triple G?
Absolutely.
You don't think this is one of those situations where Triple G and Canelo should have had a trilogy, and then you beat the winner as opposed to having to fight both?
But it's already happened. I already cut in the middle.
Right.
So what do I lay down
No.
for the third fight to happen?
Right.
No, I go in there and I take care of business Brooklyn style, and I set up and misplace all those plans that they have
Now,
set.
I got to admit this, Daniel Jacobs.
Yes.
Canelo Alvarez is a better boxer than Triple G. Yeah. I think he's a better boxer than Triple G. He's not the monster puncher, like, just walks right to you that Triple G is, but he is a better boxer. So you talk about what adjustments Canelo's going to have to make. What about the adjustments you're going to have to make?
I'm being there like this on Canelo's forehead. He's just going to be swinging like this, missing. That's the allergy I see when I'm inside that ring. I'm a big boy. I'm a big middleweight. Canelo make his own weight classes. No disrespect, but you coming up against a totally different fighter inside that ring.
But you keep saying you're bigger. Obviously, you believe you got to punch. You're 35-2 for a reason now.
Better
You're 35-2 with 29 knockouts. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you put people to sleep. We get all of that.
Yeah.
Is it possible that because you're bigger and you have the knockout power, that you two are going to be right there for Canelo to hit because you know you're bigger and stronger, and as a result, you don't have to box and back up?
So true champions, and Floyd Mayweather said it best, true champions adjust. So I can go in there with an agenda to do A. If A doesn't work, I can do B. And if B doesn't work, I go to C. So that's my goal. Obviously, this is boxing. Anything can happen. You go in there with a game plan. He's that good with world-class fighters. Everybody's good. It's only a little margin that you have to be better than somebody. And I'm going to take full advantage of that. But like I said before, I got skill, speed, and power. And it's going to be a rough night.
Ain't nobody questioning this game. Anybody that's questioning your skill don't know boxing. No doubt about it. IBF middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. But I will say this, and this is just a generic perspective about the sport of boxing that y'all say all the time as boxers that I never liked.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
What's that?
Well, plan A don't work, go to plan B. Well, damn it, if plan A don't work, you might not get to plan B. You get put to sleep in these kind of sports. This ain't basketball. Well, it ain't working in the first quarter. Let me adjust in the second quarter or the third. No. If plan A don't work in boxing, you might be to sleep in plan B. Why do y'all say that?
Well, I just think because 9 times out of 10, there's an opportunity to adjust. And if you're as good as you say you are, then you have that platform to do so. So I'm not getting knocked out by Canelo Alvarez. When the last time you've seen Canelo Alvarez knock out anybody for that reason?
Well, I saw him. Well, listen, I did see him put James Kirkland to sleep, although that was the welterweight division. I still haven't found James Kirkland since he got knocked out by Canelo Alvarez.
Thank you.
I haven't seen him. I mean, he won't even show up at a 7-Eleven. then you got Amir Khan. He got knocked out. I just saw him the other day. He's getting ready to fight Terrence Crawford, but he got knocked out. But I will concede there aren't. I mean, you're right. Canelo. Listen, I look at Canelo. He can box. He can punch. Do I think you can beat him? Yes, I do. But I think it would require your A game to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And my A game is what's going to get me through it. I'm not one who's delusional to think, just because I feel like I have a better arsenal or better defensively that I can go in there and be lackluster. No, I have to go in there and put my best foot forward. I have the ultimate respect for the game. So what's necessary is me take the proper precautions and give that man his respect without giving him respect.
You know the other thing I'm worried about? I'm worried about the fact that he's so popular that a decision would it work in your favor?
That's my major concern.
Decision. Because, listen, Daniel, for all of you out there, Daniel Jacobs is not just a champion. He's not just a great fighter. He's a class guy, class personified, really good, decent guy, great for the sport of boxing, great ambassador for the sport. Unfortunately, that's not the kind of stuff that judges think about in other people's eyes from time to time. So Daniel Jacobs is not Canelo in terms of Madison Avenue.
Right.
Do you worry about that at all going into the fight? And if so, how does that make you act?
Well, I mean, I don't want to go in there acting like a desperate man, but I have to take the fight in my hands. I have to decisively win each round to where there's no doubt that Daniel Jacobs won that fight or won that round. Or, I joke around and say I got to knock Canelo Alvarez out to get a draw because it's that bad when you go to Vegas and you're fighting the cash cow.
Or New York or Vegas, it don't matter.
Anywhere.
Right? Don't even get me started with Mexico.
Right.
Mexico. That's right. No question about it.
But I just got to go, listen, I was giving nothing in my life. I come from the pits, and they have this weight hydration calls where they're making all these speculations on what I can do and what I cannot do, all of these different things. Keep adding them on. My back was against the wall when I was almost dead in that hospital bed. There's nothing that's going to stop me from making the most of this moment.
Room for you, my man. Good luck.
Brother.
I love that watch, by the way. Show the watch. Show the watch. I mean, damn. I don't have one of those. I appreciate it. What you were saying, John? Absolutely. Listen, before I let you get on out of here, talk to me about your foundation. My apologies for not asking about that earlier. Talk to me about that.
No worries. So, I started my foundation called the Get in the Ring Foundation. What we do is, being that I'm a survivor of cancer, and physically, mentally, financially, all across the boards, I know how it affected me. And once I got in a position to where I wanted to help people in a similar situation, I was going to do that. So we started our foundation, Get in the Ring. We help so many different families with cancer, children with cancer, and have so many different programs. So if you guys are interested to see if you can donate or if you can help or even refer somebody to our foundation, you can check it out at getinthering.org and see exactly what I got going on, because the People's Champ is real. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not just being inside and making money off of fights, but doing right behind our community. That's what's key.
I deeply appreciate you saying that. I lost my mother to cancer, as I know you well know, so I definitely appreciate that effort. And thank you so much for it. Let me know if there's anything I can do. Happy to do it anytime. The one and only Daniel Jacobs, IBF middleweight champion of the world, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with your calls to close out the show in a minute. By the way, Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home anytime you want, winter or summer, rain or shine. Whether it's a monthly challenge to meet your goals, a training program for your next race, or setting a new personal best, the Peloton bike will make you want to show up and keep climbing the live leaderboard year-round. On average, Peloton members are riding their bikes more every year and crushing their personal records along the way. So learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom. Again, back with your calls in a minute to close out the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it! If you missed any of the Stephen A. Smith Show today, don't worry about it. You can listen to the podcast on your schedule, on demand. Brought to you by the new Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey. What's in your wallet? Also, this Sunday, ESPN Deportes is your home for Super Bowl 53 in Espanol. Will Brady and Belichick win their sixth Super Bowl together, or will Jared Goff and Todd Gurley bring the Lombardi back to L.A.? It's Super Bowl 53 this Sunday in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again to Bill Romanowski, Will Packer, Daniel Jacobs, of course, Jamal Adams for the New York Jets for coming on the show today. Tomorrow, Shaquille O'Neal, my brothers, including one from another mother. Shaquille O'Neal. Primetime Deion Sanders. His 30 for 30 doc is coming out tomorrow on ESPN. And, of course, the one and only Travis Kelce, arguably the best tight end in all of football, playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's on the show tomorrow as well. His decision-making is nice, too. Have you seen this girl? It's very nice decision-making on his part. Very, very nice decision-making. No doubt about that. Thanks to everybody for joining me today. I'll be back here in the ATL live from Super Bowl 53 tomorrow and Friday. 22 hours from now, I'll be back. Until then, peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.